Imagine for a moment that the reality you perceive is not a chaotic flow of random events, but a fabric, a vast invisible tapestry where every thought, every emotion, and every action we take intertwines like a thread in the great cosmic loom. If this is true, then what would happen if we could take a simple thread in our hands and with the proper intention weave into it the codes of our destiny? This is the mystery we will explore today. Knots, seemingly humble, have been for millennia symbols of union, connection, and hidden power. Tying a knot is not only a physical act, it is a gesture that imprisons, concentrates, and directs the invisible energy that surrounds us. In the material world, a knot holds, ties, fixes. In the spiritual world, a knot can anchor a desire, trap a shadow we need to release, or seal the entrance to unwanted energies. Now, why 7 knots? Why not 3, 5, or 10? The number 7 has resonated in all cultures as an echo of sacred perfection. There are 7 colors that form the rainbow, 7 notes that shape music, 7 days that structure our time, and 7 energy centers that vibrate within the human being. 7 is the number of the complete cycle, the bridge between the human and the divine. When we knot a thread 7 times, we are creating an energetic map that dialogues with the secret rhythms of the universe. In this video, I will reveal how to transform a common thread into a tool of spiritual power. You will learn to perform a simple but powerful ritual, making 7 knots charged with intention, each with a specific purpose: closing cycles, healing wounds, protecting yourself, giving thanks, manifesting, clarifying, and finally, tuning in with the totality. The fascinating thing about this technique is not only its simplicity, but its depth. You do not need grand temples, nor complex tools, nor occult formulas transmitted on forbidden scrolls. Just a thread and your will, because the true altar is within you, and the most powerful matter in the cosmos is called intention. Throughout this journey, we will unravel the ancient symbolism of knots and the secret power of the number 7. Then, step by step, I will guide you to perform this ritual with full awareness. And finally, I will show you how to integrate this act into your daily life, turning it into a constant reminder that your energy can be shaped, directed, and elevated. Prepare yourself. What you will discover is not a simple esoteric exercise, but a key, a way to open internal portals towards your healing and your manifestation. Because in every knot, you are not just knotting a thread, you are weaving your destiny. Behind every spiritual gesture that reaches us, there is an invisible lineage of symbols and meanings that have been transmitted through centuries. The simple act of knotting a thread belongs to this category of ancestral secrets, seemingly humble practices that, however, hold the essence of a deep universal philosophy. In ancient shamanic cultures, the knot was considered a container. It was believed that the shaman, by knotting, could trap a spirit, an intention, or even a bad omen, keeping it bound until they decided to release or transform it. The Celts, for example, used complex knots that had no beginning or end. They were living metaphors of the eternal cycle of existence. For them, every loop represented the dance of life, death, and rebirth. Knotting was not simply joining 2 ends, but joining the visible with the invisible, the earthly with the divine. On the African continent, knots were part of protective amulets. A knotted cord around the waist or wrist was not just an ornament, but a spiritual seal against the forces that lurk from the invisible world. The indigenous peoples of America also resorted to knots and ties in their rituals. They considered them energetic keys that connected the person with their community and with the guardian spirits of nature. Beyond the ritual aspect, the symbolism of the knot is also found in philosophical and mystical traditions. In ancient Greece, the Orphic mysteries spoke of life as a thread woven by the Moirai, the goddesses of fate. Each knot in that thread could be understood as an inevitable event, a mark on the tapestry of our existence. In fact, the very word knot evokes the idea of destiny, a link, a union, a crossroads where the human and the divine meet. The number 7, intimately linked to this practice, multiplies its power when applied to the act of knotting. The ritual always begins with a simple thread. It can be made of cotton, wool, or silk, but the important thing is that it is charged with your presence. Before starting, hold the thread in your hands, close them, and perceive its texture. Imagine that it is the reflection of your life, a linear path, still without turns, without marks, a destiny that waits to be written. The first knot, closing a cycle. The first knot is the foundational act. It represents closure. When you knot for the first time, you are telling the universe, this is left behind. It can be a fear, a relationship that drained your energy, a destructive habit, or an emotion that clings like a shadow. As you tighten this first knot, do not do it with violence, but with solemnity. It is like sealing a letter that no longer needs to be opened. Philosophically, this gesture reminds us that nothing can begin if something does not close first. Just as the river does not advance without leaving its source behind, the soul does not grow without releasing what has already fulfilled its purpose. The second knot, protection. The second knot builds an invisible wall around your being. When you knot it, imagine a bubble of light surrounding you, like a bright sphere that breathes with you. Ancient traditions knew that life is not only matter, but also a constant exchange of energies. Many of these energies are subtle, but not always benevolent. Just as we close the door of our house to feel safe, the second knot is an energetic door, a declaration of spiritual sovereignty. At this point, the practice reminds us of something essential. There is no true freedom if we do not learn to protect our inner space. Protection is not fear, it is clarity, knowing where what is yours ends and where what is foreign begins. The third knot, emotional healing. The third knot becomes invisible medicine. Here the thread becomes a suture thread, closing wounds that are not seen with the eyes, but that hurt in the deepest part of the heart. When you knot for the third time, visualize that each turn of the thread is like a needle sewing the skin of the soul. Unresolved emotions leave fractures in our energetic field. Accumulated sadness, stored rage, or undigested guilt are loose fragments that weaken our vital energy. This knot is a balm, a reminder that all pain can be transformed into teaching, and every wound can be part of a sacred map. Here we also find a deep philosophical teaching. Healing does not mean erasing what happened, but integrating it. The third knot reminds us that every scar is a sign that we are still standing, stronger, more conscious, more whole. The fourth knot, gratitude. The fourth knot is a silent song of thanksgiving. By making it, we recognize that nothing we have is a coincidence, and that even the difficult was part of our evolution. Imagine that each turn of the thread is a word of gratitude that you direct to the universe, to the earth, to your ancestors, to your own being. Gratitude is the most powerful alchemy because it transforms lack into abundance and complaint into acceptance. Knotting this fourth knot is like planting a luminous seed in the inner garden. The more you give thanks, the more fertile your spiritual ground becomes. These first four knots make up half of the ritual and mark a clear path. Closing, protecting, healing, and thanking. They are the foundation of everything that will come after. Without these bases, the last three knots would lose strength, because before asking the universe, before seeking clarity or connection, we must clean, seal, and bless the ground where our intention will flourish. Each of these knots is not just a manual gesture, it is an existential affirmation. Each tightening of the thread is a reminder that the human being is not condemned to live at the mercy of circumstances, but can take the thread of their life and with conscious decision transform it into a sacred fabric. So far, the first four knots have taken us on a journey of closure, protection, healing, and gratitude. They are the foundations of the ritual, the roots that prepare the ground. But a tree does not stay in its roots. It always seeks to grow upward, unfold its branches, and touch the sky. This also happens with the three remaining knots that lead us from the internal to the cosmic, from purification to creation. The fifth knot, manifestation of desires. The fifth knot is perhaps the most awaited. It is here that the thread ceases to be a channel of healing to become a bridge to the future. At this moment, the practice takes the form of a pact with the universe. As you knot for the fifth time, concentrate your energy on a deep desire, not a passing whim, but a genuine intention that resonates with your essential being. This knot is not for asking from lack, but for affirming from abundance. This is already part of me and I bring it to the visible plane. Esoteric traditions agree on something. The universe responds to clear and coherent vibration. If your desire is born from the ego, it may dissipate like smoke. But if it arises from the internal voice of your higher purpose, the knot becomes a magnet that attracts the right circumstances. In philosophical terms, this knot is a reminder that we are co-creators. We are not leaves blown by the wind of fate. We are weavers of the tapestry, and in every conscious manifestation a mystery is revealed. That which you seek is also seeking you. The sixth knot, mental clarity. After sowing your desire, the sixth knot arrives like a beacon in the midst of fog. What good would it be to have a purpose if the mind is entangled in doubts, contradictions, and distractions? This knot is a purification of thought. As you knot, visualize that every confused thread of your mind aligns into a single channel. It is like combing tangled hair or clearing a path in the middle of the forest. In many spiritual philosophies, clarity is considered the true wealth. Those who have clarity can advance with firm steps, while those who live in confusion stumble even on level ground. The sixth knot is a call to lucidity, to mental discipline, to the serenity that allows us to distinguish between the essential and the superfluous. In this sense, the practice of the sixth knot transcends the ritual moment. It is a habit that can permeate your entire life. Whenever your mind gets lost in labyrinths, remember that you are the guardian of your own threads and that you can knot them again with intention. The seventh knot, tuning with the universe. The seventh and final knot is the climax, the final seal. Here we no longer ask, we no longer protect, we no longer heal. Here we surrender to the totality. When you knot for the seventh time, feel that all the threads, those of your life, your history, your destiny, link with the cosmic fabric. It is the moment to align yourself with the universal energy, to remember that although you are an individual, you are also part of something infinitely greater. 7, as a sacred number, has always symbolized the union between the human and the divine. This last knot is an act of trust. You place your intentions in the hands of life, knowing that the universe is not an indifferent enemy, but a silent ally that responds to the vibration of your heart. In this closure, a mystical paradox occurs. What began as a personal gesture reveals itself as a cosmic act. Your thread is not only yours, it is one more fiber in the immense tapestry of existence. Each knot is simultaneously yours and the universe's, intimate and universal. With the 7 knots completed, the thread becomes a witness of your journey. It is not a simple object, but a talisman charged with intention. You can place it on your altar, keep it as an amulet, or release it in a ritual fire. The important thing is to remember that in that thread, there are not only knots, there are memories, healings, dreams sown, and doors opened. This ritual, in its apparent simplicity, returns to us a fundamental teaching. Reality is not made only of external facts, but also of symbols, gestures, and sacred acts. By taking a thread and knotting it, we are not playing with ancient superstitions. We are remembering that the human being is capable of dialoguing with the mystery, of shaping the vastness of the invisible into the concrete. The power of the 7 knots does not reside solely in the moment of the ritual. Like all authentic spiritual practice, its true value is revealed when we manage to transfer it to daily life, when we let symbolism become a habit, a gaze, a way of inhabiting the world. Making the knots is sowing a seed. Living with them is watering it every day. First, repeat the ritual as a cycle. Do not see this act as an isolated event, but as a process that can accompany you at different moments of your life. Just as the year has seasons, your life also goes through closures and beginnings. You can repeat the ritual of the 7 knots when you feel that something has concluded, when a new desire appears, or when you need to regain clarity. Each repetition will be different because each time you will be someone new. Second, choose the thread wisely. In daily life, the thread is a metaphor for your choices. Just as you decide if the thread will be red, white, or gold, in life you choose the quality of the energies you allow in. Observe what you consume, the words you speak, the people with whom you share your time. They are all invisible threads that knot your destiny. Be selective. Choose what nourishes and strengthens you. Third, live with awareness of closure and opening. The first knot teaches us that nothing flourishes if we do not know how to let go. So it is also in life. Practice the art of closing cycles. Do not cling to what no longer vibrates with you. Do not prolong relationships or habits that have already fulfilled their purpose. Every time you allow yourself to close, you create a space for the new to manifest. Fourth, protect your energy. The second knot reminds us that taking care of ourselves is not selfishness, but wisdom. Learn to say no, to set boundaries, to recognize when something invades your peace. Visualize your life as a sacred house. Not just anyone can enter without permission. This attitude does not isolate you. Rather, it strengthens your ability to share from a place of integrity. Fifth, honor gratitude as a philosophy. The fourth knot of gratitude can become a daily exercise. Dedicate a few minutes each morning or each night to remember what you already have, what you already are. This habit transforms the mind and opens unsuspected doors. Those who give thanks live in abundance, even when the material seems scarce, because true wealth is in the gaze. Sixth, unite desire with action. The fifth knot invites us to manifest, but do not forget that desire without action is like a loose knot. If you have asked for clarity, walk towards it. If you have sown a dream, water it with discipline. The universe responds, but it also awaits your collaboration. Manifestation is not childish magic, it is conscious co-creation. Seventh, remember unity. Finally, the seventh knot teaches us that nothing we do is isolated. Every thought, word, and action reverberates in the invisible network of the cosmos. Live with that awareness, that every gesture, no matter how small, has an echo. That vision transforms your way of being in the world because you understand that your life is a thread that holds and is held by many others. To live the seven knots is to live with art, with discipline, and with magic. It is not about having an amulet hanging on the wall, but about embodying the wisdom that each knot contains. When you do, you discover that life itself becomes a constant ritual. Every day is a thread, every decision a knot, and every breath a reminder that you are always weaving your destiny. Upon reaching the end of this journey, we understand that the ritual of the seven knots is not a simple symbolic exercise, nor a superstition inherited from ancient times. It is, in essence, a tool of inner transformation, a mirror that reminds us of the power we have to shape our energy and to dialogue with the mystery of life. Each knot we have explored is not just a manual gesture, but a condensed teaching. Closing cycles to free ourselves, protecting our sacred space, healing invisible wounds, thanking the abundance already present, manifesting with clarity, ordering the mind, and finally surrendering to the totality. 7 acts, 7 steps, 7 keys that open doors in the deepest part of our consciousness. If we observe well, we discover that this ritual is a metaphor for human existence. Life itself is a thread. It begins at birth and advances until the last breath. And along that path we knot experiences. Some with pain, others with joy, some with doubts, and others with wisdom. Every knot we make unconsciously can imprison us, but every knot we make consciously can free us. The difference is in the intention. This is the great secret. It is not the thread that transforms. It is you. The thread is just a mirror, a silent ally. The true alchemy happens when you decide to put your energy, your faith, and your purpose into the act. That is the power of symbols. They remind us of what we already carry within. In a world where haste and noise seem to dominate, stopping to knot a thread 7 times is an act of sacred resistance. It is saying to life, I am conscious, I am a creator, I choose how I want to walk. And that simple gesture, repeated with intention, is capable of changing the way we relate to ourselves and to the universe. As we conclude this video, I invite you to reflect. What knots do you need to make at this moment in your life? What cycle are you ready to close? What wound asks for your attention? What deep dream awaits your bravery to be manifested? Each person will have different answers because every thread is unique, but we all share the same truth. Our energy can be transformed if we have the will to do so. Carry this knowledge with you as a constant reminder. You do not need grand temples nor complicated tools. A simple thread is enough as long as you accompany it with the most powerful force that exists, your conscious intention. Remember, every knot you make in the external world is also a knot in your internal world. And when you manage to align both worlds, the personal with the universal, the visible with the invisible, you discover that you are not alone in the fabric of life. You are part of the great cosmic loom, and your thread is indispensable in the total drawing. So now, with your hands, your inner voice, and your faith, dare to knot your destiny. In every knot, you are not only closing or opening paths, you are writing the story of your soul on the vast parchment of the universe.